Hey you guys, welcome back to a Conquerors Blade video. Today I want to talk about the Eternal new season that is coming out on February the 23rd. Looks like it's the ancient Chinese style season, and as we can see here we've already got a show of what's going to be the current units or the new units to be used, which are announced here, what they're called, which is the Wuxing Pikemen, which is our 3 stars. We're going to have the Crescent Monks, which is our 4 stars, and the Yanyuedao Cavalry, which is the 5 star. Now, I will go into those in a little bit of detail, and I think I know roughly what they're going to be sort of used as the sort of specials or their sort of attacks and that as such, because I'm going to go into sort of some history about them, and I'm going to go into the history about the new artillery Divine Crow, but some people already covered this as such, and I don't want to go too much into detail with it, and let's see what these units are about. Okay, just a quick history lesson. So the season is actually based between 1235 up to 1279, and this is the Mongol versus Song Dynasty Wars. Now, just some key dates to also understand is the Jin Song Wars, which was from 1115 to 1234. And some key information there is because the Jin Song War was going on for quite a while, and then the Mongolians attacked the Jin from the north, and the Song used this to advantage and had an alliance with the Mongolians during the Jin Song Wars, and then the Jin Song Wars ended in 1234. A year later, the Mongolians went, oh, okay, let's now attack the Song dynasty. So then you then get the 1279 war with the Mongolian. Just some key information there, just to sort of know, and that's some history in that, but there you go. So the Wuxing Pikemen, or also known as the Ly Kwai Chang, which is a form of fire lance. The firework will shoot out a small projectile or poison along with flame. So my understanding of this would be used, one of their abilities would be to either shoot some poison or a small bullet. Either it will be in the form of brace or a form of defensive line. And effectively anything that's coming towards them, they'll be able to sort of shoot them with this, and either to knock them back and CC them, or basically stop their advance, which I think would be quite handy. So the early recordings of these fire lances are 950 to 960, and they were originally made out of bamboo and rice paper. Then they were then transitioned into metal barrels in 1276, which then gave them sort of more of a robust sort of weapon, and this is what we're actually seeing in game. These are the metal barreled ones as such. So also used in cavalry as well. So they weren't just used on the ground, they were used with cavalry. But effectively, this is the first ever firearm ever made. Now for the Crescent Monks, which funny enough actually use a weapon called the Crescent Moon Spade. So the weapon they actually have was never originally a weapon. It was actually a garden spade and then a modified sickle to then push away any predators that came towards them as such. But the actual spade was used for when they're on their wanders to actually bury any of the dead. So that's effectively what this weapon was originally used for. However, this weapon is not to be underestimated, as the Crescent Moon Spade versatility allows its master to hook, stab, scoop, sweep, smack and chop at opponents using techniques from spear, staff, broadsword and trident fighting styles. Nowadays, Shaolin and Taoist monks are primarily users of this double-sided weapon. Forget the freaking spear with a firearm on the end of it, just get a shovel and a sickle. This thing sounds amazing. So I think with the Crescent Monks we're going to be looking at something as an ability to repel any attack. And also what I think is going to happen as an attack, we're going to then get something with a sweep in motion with the actual bladed end to sort of chop up anything that was either in the advance or anything like that. So I think this is going to be certainly a double ability sort of unit. So the last unit to look at is the Yanyuedao Cavalry. I'll repronounce that. So Yanyuedao Cavalry. So I actually struggled to find any details about this particular weapon and unit really, but basically what I can understand is it was predominantly used by generals, and the only thing it could be used by is used on a horse, and it required great strength and the fast horse to be used effectively. Now, a naval commander basically said that it's imposing, however it's not actually practical for combat, and the weapon itself was actually used from 960 all the way up to 1912. Now, only being used for ceremonial use and actually for strength training and testing, really. So, as a weapon, I don't quite know what to expect from this. I think the only thing I can say is it's likely to have a charge ability in game, and second thing, maybe it's going to be good at taking out cavalry. The second thing I found about it was the fact that the reason why it's so long and sort of the glaive style to it was that when going into sort of battle on that, and if it came across a cav, the length of it would allow them to chop at the feet of any horses, basically rendering the horse and the rider, allowing any units from behind or any sort of infantry to come up and mop up the rest of it. So that's what I know about it as such. As them, there's not a lot of details about them, unfortunately, and if I could find as much detail as I could, I would basically explain everything to you, but those ones don't know much about. But there you go. Now for the Divine Crow, also known as the
S 很呼奥维亚 S 很呼奥维亚
Yeah, I wasn't even going to try and pronounce that. Anyway, Divine Fire Flying Crow. It's a unique bird-shaped rocket made of paper bamboo or reed basketry. It is a long-range incendiary weapon designed to attack station or slow-moving targets such as encampments, fortresses, and warships. So I think with this one, I think we're going to look at this as the sort of mix between the war rockets and the mortar. It's going to have sort of the range of the war rockets, but sort of the damage as such as a mortar. But I think this is one of those that's going to be sort of different to use. Considering it says long range and it's incendiary, it'll be nice to see sort of it leave sort of flames after it's hit. And whether long range means it's just going to be able to be used across the map as such, I don't know. But looking into the history of these actually had quite a few variants. So one of them being a smoke version, gas version, one that sort of, when it exploded, had caltrops pop out, which is basically metal spikes, which is basically a grenade really as such. However, this is the only weapon that's not from the Song dynasty. This was actually originally from the Ming dynasty. This was one of the early weapons they used during that period. So thank you guys for watching the video. Drop a comment on what unit you're particularly interested about. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Bye!